Press conferences, we can invite the opposition as we do, and they can use the platform to criticize and challenge government, because that's what democracy is about. We will not always get it right, and I'm sure that the concerns you have about the existing laws and policies are legitimate. As we solve the problems, let us remember that we must seek a balance between a truly open and free society, but also one where we are all safe, where our kids are safe.
During the engagement, participants were taken through access to information and data protection law, the Cybercrime Act, and most importantly, the Anti-Terrorism Bill. Earlier this year, SLAJ and MRCG led the process with a position paper on some provisions in the Anti-Terrorism Bill, such as the definition of terrorism, criminalization of dissemination, harsh penalties for media work, online and social media restrictions, and others. According to Alilan Sana, State Counsel, Office of the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, some of the recommendations in the Anti-Terrorism Bill have been addressed and are looking forward for more engagement for other recommendations.
Some of the recommendations they brought up, we had already addressed them during the legislative committee stage of the parliamentary engagements on the bill. For example, Articles 21 and 22, they had already been expunged, and this was as a result of extensive consultations and deliberations. We're all waiting on Parliament to produce the final copy of the bill, after which, if there is need for more amendments, those can be engaged on. It's an ongoing process.
While applauding MRCG and partners for the educative session, participants pressed for the introduction of protective exemptions, reduced penalties, embedded a safeguard clause, established oversight mechanism, and others, because according to them, the Counter-Terrorism Bill 2024 in its current form poses substantial risk to freedom of press. Moses Conte, SLBC.
Well, earlier again, the Media Reform Coordinating Group, MRCG, engaged journalists with its partners in the international-based organization Paradigm Initiative on digital rights for journalists and how they could use digital tools to detect misinformation and disinformation. Moses Conte again reports.
Facilitators focused on digital rights using the media context, digital threat, and security, among other topics. These issues were handled during the one-day session for journalists on how to navigate through various legislations restricting not only their right to access information but freedom of expression, violating Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human and People's Rights. Regional Lead, Paradigm Initiative, West Africa Region, Khadija El-Usman said it was the right of journalists to express themselves freely and not a privilege. She said the session was also to educate media people on their right to access information.
Access to the internet, the ability to express yourself freely, securely, and without fear is not a privilege, it is a fundamental human right. So what we do is to support communities, organizations, and governments in building a digital space that is safe, inclusive, and respectful of all rights.
According to the coordinator, Media Reform Coordinating Group, Dr. Francis Soa, such an opportunity was for media practitioners to embrace, adding that was the right path for the media landscape to thrive.
We are confident that with these kinds of sessions, we'll try to achieve the big goal, which is to ensure the challenges in the digital space are addressed. If we continue to do this, I am sure we'll get to a point in which we'll be able to understand our data rights, protect them, and also use them for the furtherance of our work.
The session ended with a clear call on authorities to reverse, enact, amend, and remove certain legislations that are barriers to media freedom and access to information. Moses Conte, SLBC.
Well, it's now time for our international news.
Hello and welcome to the International News Summary on News Hour for this hour. In this edition, the first Britons evacuated out of Israel have landed back in the United Kingdom after a long and intense journey. The RAF flight departed Ben Gurion Airport with 63 British nationals and their family members on Monday afternoon. The passengers landed at the Birmingham Airport early on Tuesday morning. One passenger said he was grateful to personnel on the ground, but was critical of the evacuation plan, which has followed many other nations, including the United States and Portugal. Israeli airspace was closed for 10 days, leaving thousands of Britons stranded when the conflict started this month, when Israel attacked nuclear sites in Iran, prompting Tehran to respond with missile strikes. Passenger Max Radford, accompanying his elderly parents, said that while he was really thankful to RAF and Foreign Office staff, the evacuation plan was shambolic every step of the way. Simeon Harris has raised concerns over the United States Department's decision to expand its student visa requirements. Last week, the State Department announced it will resume scheduling appointments for international students' visas after halting the process in late May. New applicants will now have to make their social media accounts public for enhanced vetting. Harris said he planned to take up the issue with the new U.S. Embassy in Ireland, who is due to formally take up his new post next month. While Harris acknowledged the U.S. immigration policy was a matter for the U.S. authorities, he said the decision had caused deep concern, confusion and apprehension for young Irish people wishing to travel to the United States. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has warned that Russia's president understands only the language of force and that Tuesday's historic NATO summit in The Hague will aim to ensure peace in Europe for generations to come. Merz told German's parliament hours before the summit was due to start that Vladimir Putin remained determined that Ukraine should be part of Russia, and he said Berlin will pay its fair share to defend Europe. US President Donald Trump is on his way to The Hague for his first NATO summit since 2019. Ahead of the summit overshadowed by Israel-Iran conflict, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte told his European colleagues to stop worrying about the US commitments to the Western Alliance and focus on investing in defense and supporting Ukraine. Colombian Defense Minister Pedro Sanchez has said that 57 soldiers who had been held captive by locals in the mountains of Colombia since the weekend have been freed in a military operation. Mr. Sanchez said that no shot was fired in what he dubbed Operation Justice. The soldiers were seized in the Cuca region, a stronghold of the EMC rebel group, which engages in cocaine production and trafficking. The Colombian military said the incident had been triggered by arrest of a suspected EMC rebel on Saturday. As the soldiers prepared to airlift the suspect out of the mountainous area, they were surrounded by more than 100 people. According to estimates by the military, more than 90% of the inhabitants of the area depend on the cultivation of cocoa bush, the plant used to make cocaine for a living. And that's all in the International News Summary. Thank you so much for watching and goodbye.
And thanks to Samataba for the international news. Let's now go back to business updates.
Hello and welcome to Business Update, the segment that brings you insights in business and its contributions towards positively impacting the economy. I'm Dennis Fraser. Today we shall look at the current electricity challenge in the capital Freetown and its effect on traders of perishable goods and other beverages across the city. Across Freetown, citizens are grappling with the harsh realities of unrealistic power, a challenge that it's particularly hard for vendors dealing in perishable foods. Frozen food businesses at PZ, central part of Freetown, has become a crucial source of income for many families, thereby facing significant losses due to the erratic electricity supply currently in the capital Freetown. Well, let's join Esther Susanette Bassi for that report.
It is no secret that the current business environment is somewhat not favorable for traders due to several challenges. In recent time, electricity challenge has increased the suffering of traders whose businesses largely depend on electricity. Earlier this month, ETSA's press statement indicated a ration in power supply system for Freetown due to limited power produced for the city. This rationing system has directly contributed to the inconsistency reported by local businesses, and several business people paint a grim picture of their daily struggles. Abubakar Sise, who specializes in gizzard, chicken, sausage among others, highlighted the substantial financial setbacks.
We usually face a lot of loss with regards to the inconsistency of lights. Currently, business is slow, and now lights, which is our vital means and source of help, has become a challenge.
Marie Cole, who sells shrimps, expressed deep dissatisfaction, noting that while electricity was not a concern before, it has now become a major obstacle. She elaborated on the desperate measures they often resolved.
It tend away light the day, will not be the get too much problem because the cold we get and so.
Until now, light was not a problem, but lately it is really challenging unless we buy ice cubes, which sometimes is not enough.
Now when we get and so we straight because the lights on and off, we not able for.
Similarly, a veteran butcher, John, who has been in the business for over 30 years, echoed these concerns, emphasizing the widespread nature of the issue.
Even though it's on and off, I appeal to authorities concerned for improvements and consistency.
Moving from frozen foodstuffs, Maria Tusise, who also sells cold drinks, finds her business severely hampered. Customers expect chilled beverages, and without consistent power to keep her refrigerators running, her daily earnings have dwindled.
I cannot do my business without electricity because people want ice drinks. As a result of that, I hardly earn enough daily. I appeal to the government for better light facilities in order for me to survive and take care of my family.
However, for Abdul Salam Sise, their main concern is the frequent power interruptions caused by ETSA, particularly the sudden switching on and off of the lights. This sometimes poses fire hazard and puts our refrigerators at risk. The chorus of appeals from these hardworking individuals underscores the urgent need for a stable and consistent electricity supply in Freetown. For these small businesses, reliable power isn't just a convenience. It is the very lifeline connecting them to their survival and the well-being of their families. Until this issue is addressed, many fear that their entrepreneurial spirit and economic stability will continue to melt away with each power outage. For SLBC Business News, Esther Susanette Bassi reporting.
Many thanks indeed to Esther Susanette Bassi for that report, and that's all in today's edition of Business Update. Many thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Hi, many thanks to Dennis Fraser for that business update. Now let's find out the latest in sports.
It's sports updates on the news with me, Mohamed Lamintu. In this edition of the update, Providence International and Methodist Girls High School emerged victorious in the beach football competition organized by Orange Sierra Leone. The competition aimed at raising awareness on cyberbullying and to promote physical exercise. Here is the report.
In a vibrant celebration of youth's engagement and sportsmanship, Orange Sierra Leone recently hosted a beach football tournament that brought together 6 secondary schools in Freetown The initiative was aimed to promote youth empowerment while raising awareness on key issues such as cyberbullying, digital literacy, and the importance of physical well-being. Set against this backdrop of Lonely Beach, the tournament attracted students, teachers, and community members for a day of matches and constructive dialogue. The event also highlighted teamwork, discipline, positive influence of sports on youth development. As part of Orange Border Cooperative Social Responsibility Program, the tournament used football as a platform to spark discussion on social and digital challenges affecting young people. Speaking at the event, Orange Sierra Leone Head of Communication, Bran Philip Eme, emphasized the significance of creating inclusive, supportive spaces where students can grow both mentally and physically.
Is that we want young people to understand that they need to connect very well with their peers, with family and all of that. We know that young people are always on their phones, all right, and we have to catch them young. We don't why we are talking to older people, but also talking to children, because this is for children between the age of 10 and 15. Now they're having handsets, they're having phones and all of those things. We want to teach them that they need to connect better with their peers and with their parents and people in the society, as opposed to just being on the phone continuously, because once you have excessive screen time, it affects them mentally, it affects their eyesight, so physically, mentally they're affected. So that is what we are teaching.
Spectators enjoyed exciting contests between the participating schools, with students demonstrating remarkable skill. Providence International and Methodist Girls High School clinched the championship titles in their respective categories, each earning trophies and medals for their achievements. Other participants included St. Joseph Convent, Balingua Secondary School, Lemount, and St. Edward's Jr. All teams received certificates in recognition of their participation and sportsmanship. Slbc Sports, Mohamed Lamento reporting.
And now in the international scene, Sierra Leone Juma Ba is attracting interest from OGC Nice in France following a successful loan spell with RC Lens in Ligue 1. The 19-year-old on loan for Manchester City impressed with his pace and consistency, and in praises from French football outlets Nice Martin and Premier League France. What that's all we have time for in this edition of the update. Thank you very much for joining me. I am Mohamed Lamento, and goodbye.
Well, from the sports update, that's how we wrap up this edition of the news from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. Now, to end the news, your top stories again. President Julius Maada Bio is in Brussels for the Global Health Summit set for June 25th. The event is co-hosted by the European Union, the Gates Foundation, the Gavi, and Vaccine Alliance. The ECOWAS Parliamentary Mission in Sierra Leone has held a town hall meeting on drugs and substance abuse in the country. The shortage of specialized mental health services and the vital role families play in the lives of young people were key among the discussions during the meeting the regional bloc legislatures held. And the West African Examinations Council (WAEC) has confirmed its readiness to conduct the 2025 Basic Education Certificate Examination (BECE). Acting Director of Public Affairs at WAEC, Sali Kumar, assured the public that all systems are in place and they're fully prepared to conduct the 2025 BECE exam in accordance with the timetable already issued. Well, that's the end of the news from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. Thanks for watching, and do continue to stay tuned to your public broadcaster, the SLBC. More stories will pop up in our 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. editions of the News app. Coming up next is Good Morning Sierra Leone. I am Cecilia Anderson.
A place cannot produce poems. It can only not prevent them. And Freetown is good at that, for Freetown has its own sudden elegances. People are slow to leave it, quick to return. And there are others who come for a year or two and stay for a lifetime, sensing that they've found a city that is in the world, yet sufficiently on the edge of it to have a different resonance.
Let me tell you something about this city. All of us, we're all just passing through, and we've all been here forever.
Those who came, those who stayed, those who never returned. Tides turn, seasons change. We've waited and we've watched. But we've always been here. We've always listened. Because there is a different resonance here. It comes from the river, and the land, and the sky.
It's our place, all of us.
This city belongs to everyone.
And you know when it's your time.
And it's our time.
Listen, we are Freetown.
The golden rules of Freetown.
Don't pretend you're something that you're not.
Don't go thinking you're better than anyone else.
Or that anyone else is better than you.
Don't shout about it. Get on with it.
We are Freetown.
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 Yeah.
We found our voice again.
I'm from India and Freetown.
I'm from China and Freetown.
I'm from the UK and Freetown.
I am from Nigeria and Freetown.
I am from home and Freetown.
This city belongs to everyone.
The fishermen,
the taxi driver,
the barber,
the drummers, the dancers.
All of us.
All of us. Everybody. We are Freetown.
The past is ours.
The future is ours. It's our time again.
And this city belongs to everyone.
The playwright,
the greengrocer,
the teacher,
the dog.
This space is ours.
This light is ours.
The beaches are ours.
The rivers now we own.
The roads are ours.
The bridges now we own.
We are Freetown.
We are all visitors and we've all been here forever.
We've got the mightiest river.
And the biggest sky.
And there's a resonance again.
Freetown. Freetown. We are proud of this place. We love this city.
And we want you to love it too.
We are proud of this place.
Na pass we all dey pass like stranger dem, but we all don't dare from them.
From the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation television and through our social media handles, this is Good Morning Sierra Leone, the program that always starts your day. I am Shaku Smiler.
And my name is Frances Barnett. It's a pleasant morning here at Broadcasting House. Hello and welcome to Good Morning Sierra Leone. And our quote of the day is from Hari Kumar, and it says, "Not just charity, but even corruption begins at home."
It is true. It is true. Indeed, it is true. You know, corruption actually begins at home. You know, corruption is not just about nature. It is also about nurture. So you see the point. It is not only about nature, but also nurture.
Sure.
Yes.
So in the program this morning, IGP Fire Selu installs CCTV cameras at Princess Christian Maternity Hospital to combat child theft. ACC takes over investigation body on revenue diversion at the National Revenue Authority. And Sierra Leone Drivers Union national elections concludes without a leadership. We said it the other day. And
yes, indeed. Yeah, you know, I don't know if I think there's a need for probably an ACC to keep an eye
on the drivers
on what is happening within that organization, because it seems as though some people are milking heavily, and because of that, they don't want to let go. Sure. Anyways, that is for another day. However, the program here is Good Morning Sierra Leone, and it is reaching you live from a broadcasting house, New England Vale in Freetown. We are back, and the program you're still watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation television and through our social media handles. Well, as you may have heard in the news, amid growing concerns over reported cases of child theft at the Princess Christian Maternity Hospital, otherwise known as PCMH, commonly known as Cottage Hospital in Freetown, the Sierra Leone police have stepped in to boost security. The Inspector General of Police, William Fire Selu, has led the efforts to install modern CCTV cameras at key points within the hospital, especially around the special baby care unit, to help keep newborns safe. These new cameras are solar powered and come with smart features like live video recording and even remote rotation, giving hospital staff and police real-time eyes on the ground. But how exactly will these cameras be monitored? Well, in the studios is the Deputy Head of Police Media, ASP Mohammed Bobson Selu. Good morning, Mr. Selu, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, and pleasure having me, sir.
Baby theft, you know, thieving is taking place in some other quarters. Why this special interest, you know, in these, the special interest in so far as baby theft is concerned? Well, probably somebody might say, okay, there are some other areas who also need CCTV cameras. Why Cottage?
Well, basically, the police get the responsibilities to create an enabling environment for everybody to operate without any hindrance. One of the measures put in place has to do with like policing by consent. It has become a serious security menace. Within these 2 months, incident of such happened in Puloko, Bo, and of course Freetown here. So we have the responsibilities to ensure we build the trust and confidence in the people we are policing. So the IGP decided to engage the management of the hospital, because it is our responsibilities to also allay the fear of people who are going there to deliver. The fear of crime is more dangerous than the crime itself. So it was on that note the IGP decided to say, let us extend our eyes in those areas. So went there, and even the staff and the mothers of those young babies were happy to say, no, it's good to allay our fear. It's also good to protect our kids as well.
But then something led to that. You know, something led to that action by the police. It was not from something that came out of probably, yes, the IGP sitting in his office and just thinking or thought that there should be a CCTV cameras at cottage. Something led to that.
Indeed.
You know,
not only in that place,
it was a reaction to something that had happened. You know. So tell us, how are these cameras going to be monitored?
Yes, the monitoring mechanism is being done by the police. We have the ICT units in the Sierra Leone police. We provide the maintenance of those cameras as well, and then we also take care of the cost involved in running these things. So we have the department who's also responsible. But this is not just the first ever. We are also doing this where we have our police officers. We are also doing this central of Freetown to ensure we allay the fear of the public, and then this way of deterrence of crime, because the mere visibilities of camera, we tell you that this is being supervised or watched. People out there looking at me, what to do and what not to do, and even to help the staff of the hospital behave professionally. So it's a kind of preventive measures, as you said, to prevent further happenings of what has been happening in the hospital there.
So ASP, I'm sure Freetown is not the only place where search is happening. You just mentioned Bo, you mentioned Putloko. Are these cameras going to be installed in these other places, and even places where they have not reported such incident?
Yeah, well, this is just an eye-opener. Maybe somebody or the management of Slbc or even staff of Slbc will say, I will support the initiative of the IGPs to have it at Connaught, to have it other areas. Let me also tell you, in Kenema, citizens donated CCTV camera to assist the police. So we want also citizens to follow suit, to assist not only the IGP, but even other well-meaning organizations to assist the police. But we have what we call in our policing by consent. This has been the cry of the community, people within those areas, to say, I didn't want my wife to go there and deliver. The tendency of getting my baby will not be there. So we have the responsibilities to provide or create that enabling environment for people to go there without any.
So Sheku was just asking you about monitoring mechanism. Is it going to be monitored on a daily basis, or do you have people seated behind the camera to monitor what is happening? Because we don't want to see a footage from a CCTV camera where you will not be able to see the face of somebody clearly. We don't want such situation. How different is this in the area of monitoring?
Let me just talk about briefly the quality of this camera. Even when there is no light, even when there is no light in the hospital, the camera operates effectively. We have you don't need to have like plasma. If you have the apps in your phone, you monitor, and this we are share with top ranking hospital management. Right? We also have a police officer, the ICT unit. They have the responsibilities to be doing thorough monitoring on those things, weekly, day in, day out, to ensure the effectiveness of those.
But then, ASP and SAN, do you have probably a database or statistics of of stolen babies? I mean, baby theft. Do you have any information that you think you can use as a startup in a way? Do you have that?
Yes, of course. We have crime statistics. We have that one here. But briefly, I will tell you. Within this
one, you have to be specific. I know you have crime statistics.
Yeah.
Here, that was zero in or narrow in on baby theft. Well, that is what we are discussing. Let us know if you have, because the thing is, a lot of games, and it is not, an isolated case in a way. It is something about cannot be done by one person. It must have been, a kind of a joint criminal enterprise in a way. So, and it is serious. It is serious. Somebody, or probably a husband, had taken care of the pregnancy for 9 months, and at the end of the day, some fictitious somebody comes in with money, person desperate to have a child or a baby, and it happens. So it is very serious. Probably some are looking at it as a baby, but it is very serious. So how seriously the police are actually looking into this? Not only now for the current hospital, because deliveries are taking place in some other hospitals and health facilities across the country.
Indeed. Yes, to tell you the comprehensive statistics here now, offhand I will not. But within this period under review, we have 3 incidents that will cover. One in Poloko. Of course, Poloko, what happened? The lady went there. I mean, she was not a worker. She went there. Unfortunately for her, she left a trace, and the police used that trace to discover the baby. When they asked the lady, she didn't connect any worker there. So the lady alone was charged to court. This is also another thing. Within this period, within 3 months, so we have 3 incidents across. One in Poloko, and the recent one here at Cottage, and the one in Go.
But then you cannot also rule out the fact that we've seen, we've heard, or even seen, instances where nurses are involved. Have you ever heard about that?
Yes. Some were charged to court as well. But the one I'm talking about vividly, the lady, because he who alleged or she who alleged has to be proved. So that was the situations in Poloko.
Okay.
You understand? Because you don't expect strangers to just walk in here and do whatever the person wants to do. There must be an insider. But if you fail to connect anyone, it's also another issue here.
ASP, Sheku was just talking about other important areas where the police need to install.
It's a gradual
CCTV
process. We are working
cameras.
on that one.
We need it for security purposes, so that we will not wake up one morning and see a police vehicle being abandoned by somebody who went to another man's house to do whatever he went there to do. So we will not find ourselves in that situation. So this is a concern for the police. Your vehicle was abandoned at a place in the east end of Freetown, and this is all about security. You cannot tell who placed that vehicle there. I know on your records you have it.
You can tell.
Okay, so this is a concern for the police.
Yes, that issue is also under investigation, right? In policing, we have operational vehicles or command vehicles allocated to everybody, and we have a trace to identify you and where you are at that moment. But for command vehicle, we don't have the GPS installed in those vehicles. But for operational vehicles, we have GPS to monitor the movement of some of those vehicles. The incident you are talking about,
that particular vehicle, as far as my understanding goes, that particular vehicle must have been an operational vehicle, right?
No, the vehicles belongs to the director of traffic, and his driver, was in control of that vehicle. So they are now investigating to look at whether that area is your deployment area. Tell us the reason why you were, you went there. So let us allow the investigation.
No, was it? No. Let us try to establish something here.
Yeah.
I understand. Was that vehicle, or is that vehicle an operational vehicle, or what is it? Let us identify the vehicle. Now you said that vehicle belongs to the director of traffic, right?
Yes.
And then the driver was in charge. Now, and you have ways of tracking movements of your vehicles,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Operational vehicles.
Operational vehicles. So is that vehicle not an operational vehicle?
No, it's a command vehicle. It's not an operational vehicle.
Okay.
All right.
Only track command
operational vehicles.
Operational vehicles.
Yes. Why do we do that?
Okay.
Because incident of saying police respond is not encouraging. So, for instance, if we are now here, there is any threat of incident within this area, you call the 900. The 900 I will now look at here is Central. The nearest position vehicle is at Drazak Junction. So they will now call the vehicle station within those areas to say response to those distress call. That is the reason. But like command vehicle, we know there are also
update us update us on how far you've gone with the investigations, because it is all over the place. Nowadays we have the citizens journalism, the social media. It is all over the place. Bloggers, and that is not good for, it is about optics, perception about the police. So tell us how far you've gone with
that. Is why we are investigating. Now let me tell you, we have what we call open source. These are open source for us, right? The investigation will now lead us, Mr. A. In fact, it start right from the director. Now the director will lead us to say, okay, this vehicle, my driver was in control of this vehicle. They get on to the driver. This is your position. Where do you go? Who sent you there? Were you on operations? Were you on any movement? So this all boils down to investigation.
All right, thank you very much.
It has also taken a different dimension, and that is why we are investigating.
All right, thank you very much. Continue to stay with us. He is ASP Bobson Senu, and he is Deputy Head of Media Sierra Leone Police. This is Good Morning Sierra Leone. We now go to one of our headline stories. A press release from the National Revenue Authority dated the 20th of this month has revealed a worrying discovery of some staff members suspected of working hand in hand with outsiders, including commercial bank tellers and a few unpatriotic citizens, to divert government revenue. This latest ugly incident saw the swift intervention of the Sierra Leone Police through its Criminal Investigations Department, along with the Anti-Corruption Commission taking over the investigations. Currently, several individuals are already being questioned, and all commercial banks have been officially notified and are cooperating fully. But to break it all down and to help us understand more, we will be joined by Abubakar Toure, Director of Public Education's Anti-Corruption Commission. First of all, congratulations on this new achievement, because this is the first time you are coming since you had this new position. Congratulations and welcome to the Slbc.
Thank you very much, Francis.
So, what is this? Every month or two, we must talk about corruption, funds being diverted from commercial banks, working with people in government institutions to divert government funds into their private use. What is it that the ACC and the security is not getting right?
Well, I would start off by saying it is because we are really getting it right that it even came out to the public. Because remember, I think it was last year that we conducted a very big investigation relating to another discovery, which involved 34 billion euros, and of course it also involves one of the commercial banks, misappropriation of public revenue, and it is because of some of the actions that we've really taken in the past. That is why some of these issues are now really manifesting themselves publicly. But to come to this issue, this one, as you said in your intro, it involves officials from the National Revenue Authority and other people, especially those working in the banks, commercial banks, for example. And for us, we also know that even those dealing in clearing and forwarding, and of course, even the taxpayers themselves, they are also involved in this scheme. And the police have been investigating this issue, as was rightly stated by the National Revenue Authority, but the Commissioner, Francis Benkefala, made sure that they engaged the leadership of the Sierra Leone police in order for this matter to be transferred. Because mind you, as you said, it involves diversion of public revenue into private accounts. And this is a very big scheme, and for us, it is really serious, and for us, that is why we decided to really step in. Because as I said, it involves misappropriation of public revenue, which is an offense under the Anti-Corruption Act of 2008 as amended in 2019.
Okay, so let's talk about these commercial banks. You know, this is not the first time that they have been conniving with people from institutions to take money from government. What has the SCC been doing with these banks? What have you been doing? Have you been engaging the management, or what do you think should be done?
Engagement is one of the things that we've been doing. In fact, last year we engaged not only the commercial banks but all those in the private sector, because the mistake sometimes people make is when they think corruption activities just take place within government circles or public circles. But again, there is huge corruption really taking place within the private sector, and that is why last year we really engaged all these private sector players, including commercial banks, the mobile institutions, all of those the private sector entities we really engaged in order for us to really discuss some of these issues. But when it also comes to really making sure that these commercial banks are really held responsible, in fact, the 34 billion loans I told you about, this was, based on our investigation, because it was a matter we charged to court. And having charged that matter to court, we charged the commercial bank to court, and we charged them as a person. So it was after the matter has been sent to court, they decided to really engage us and let us settle it out of the court. And that was why we decided that if they want that kind of settlement, then they should pay back that.
Now, what has happened? In fact, it is very clear, but there is a joint criminal enterprise.
It is.
Now, diversion of funds, funds meant for the country's unconsolidated, revenue fund,
yes,
diverted into private accounts, and these diversions are initiated by officials working in these institutions. Yes. Government institutions. This time, the NIA. This is not the first time it has happened. It has been happening. Diverting funds, but then it has been alleged also that most times NIA officials are not indicted. However, the bank officials are the ones who are mostly indicted by the ACC. Is that true?
In the past, we've indicted NIA officials. That I can say safely. There are many instances wherein they were even convicted for some of these issues. And I can say when we normally conduct our investigation, it is comprehensive. We take it holistically. All those involved, we make sure we investigate, and if there is enough evidence for them to be taken to court, then we indict them. So this is something that we've been doing.
But have you done, because among your mandates, in fact, it is key, it is core in your mandates, is to prevent corruption. In other words, you have to be proactive rather than being reactive. And one of the reasons I know you conduct your systems and processes review in ministries, departments, and agencies. Have you done that for the NRA?
We've done that for almost every revenue generating institution, including the NRA, including NACIT, including Ministry of Fisheries, including SLRC, including SLME. All those revenue generating institutions, these are activities that we've conducted, systems and processes review. And like you said, there is that preventive aspect of the fight against corruption. We do not want to sit by and just wait corruption to happen. And in fact, if you go back to history, you realize that at first when you go to these government agencies to access public service, if let's say for example you go to immigration to secure your passport, you'll meet probably one immigration officer at the counter who will collect the cash from you, money from you, and for the service that you go there to access. But we realized over the years that that also exposes them to corruption, and that was why part of our recommendations in the past was for those payments, those kind of payments, to be made in commercial banks. But now comes the worry, because the commercial banks also now are colluding. They are colluding with these public officials, to divert public revenue, and that is why we at the Anti-Corruption Commission, and of course the Commissioner Francis Bankapala has made it very clearly that we are really going to make sure that they really pay the price severely. And this is something that we've done in the past. I told you the 34 billion that we recovered, it was recovered from a commercial bank. Currently, there is also a recovery going on for the Freetown City Council, which also includes collusion with staff of a commercial bank. They are also paying that 3 billion loans to the Anti-Corruption Commission for onward. So how much
have they paid so far?
I don't have the but I can tell you for free that they've paid some substantial amounts.
So now
definitely they are going to pay all of that money.
Mr. Ture, don't you think it's high time these institutions started working with the ACC to do integrity check on people that are being employed? Because this is alarming. In fact, the recent survey by the IGI states that corruption, the fight against corruption, has dropped. Even with all your efforts that you are doing, people are still fighting back. And for us to get away from that, don't you think we need to put more effort on prevention? So you get people to go through integrity checks before they are employed into certain institutions. I think if it's not part of your mandate, you should be thinking in that line, so that you take it to Parliament and then it becomes a law that it's mandatory that if you have to go, you have to be employed in certain government institutions or institutions in the country. You must go through some of these, especially financial institutions,
financially exposed.
I agree with you. For me, it is not only for even financially exposed institutions like the commercial banks or institutions like NRA. It should be for each and every public office. For us at the ACC, we do it. We do what we call probity checks. For example, before even you're given your letter of employment, we make sure that we do what we call probity check. We go to the institutions we've attended. If we've worked, let's say for example, for Slbc in the past, we go there, we check your records. For us to really be sure that we are really employing the right person, because it's not just about qualification. It also has to do with the things you already stated, issues of integrity, honesty. They should also be values each and every public officer really possess. So again, it is really a very good point, and I hope for us, we cannot direct this to some of these institutions. It is for them to really take up some of these issues and make sure that they
Okay, Mr. Ture, thank you so much. He is the Director of Public Affairs at the country's anti-graft agency, the ACC. Well, an update he's providing, or he has already started talking about how far the investigations have gone into alleged diversion of funds, by some NIA officials in collusion with some commercial bank officials in this country. The program you're still watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone. We go for a very short break and we'll be right back.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done. And its flavor, it's amazing. This is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. And this is Nkulenu's Ghana's original spiced palm soup base. Iron fruit and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available brown gold natural cocoa powder, Sunny Gold brown sugar, neat fufu flour, shito, pisa, and moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Lower Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Inkulenu palm soup base.
Ghanaian original taste.
We are back, and the program you're still watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation television and through our social media handles. Now, as you may have heard in the news also, after more than 5 years of ongoing conflicts and leadership struggles, the Motor Drivers and General Transport Workers Union was finally set to hold fresh elections on June 23, 2025. This followed a Supreme Court ruling that mandated the union to conduct elections no later than June 30, 2025. However, despite the anticipation and the critical importance of the votes, the election went ahead but ended without a clear winner, especially for the position of the president. What happened? Well, why did the much anticipated elections conclude without producing a leader? Well, we have here in the studios the Public Relations Officer of the Sierra Leone Motor Drivers and General Transport Workers Union, and he is Mohamed Kandene Conte. Mr. Conte, and he also doubles as the Deputy General Secretary. Yes, so he wears 2 hats. So now tell us, why provide us an update. What is happening? You went into an election, and this election did not only take place, by you deciding among yourselves, as a union, but you are going to go into elections. This election was an election sanctioned by the Supreme Court of this country.
Of course.
Now, but you went into that election without producing a leader. What happened?
Well, when we talk about leadership in the drivers' union, we have 25 elective positions. Out of those 25 elective positions, each of those positions are leadership positions. Leadership is not only talking about the head in the drivers' union, but every distinguished elective position is a position of leadership. So let me just answer the question. We went through the election without announcing a winner for the position of the president, because 3 people contested for that position. Out of 159 delegates, we have 158 votes casted. We have 68 for 2 candidates who rivaled. That is Ibrahim Sam from the Western Rural Districts in Waterloo and Mr. Abdullah Bade. Both got 68. And Abu Saidu, who have been in struggle with us about proving the eligibility of his membership and his participation in election, in what we just resounded that 5 years we had leadership struggle. So he got 20 votes. So if you put all those votes together, you can see that the vote went on successfully. There is no sign of overvoting, and the counting was done, and we saw that the only way we can decide it is by going
but
through.
It has been widely reported that that particular atmosphere was chaotic.
No, it was never chaotic, and that particular accolade must be given to the Sierra Leone Police. We conducted the election in the compound of the St. Anthony Parish. There is no complaint of even a broken piece of glass. There is no complaint of even a pluck of a flower we planted around that compound. There was a barricade before you even enter the route to the compound.
But the atmosphere was tense though.
Well, election atmosphere is tense because the anxiety, the anticipation,
and according to the report also, you wanted to also send blows.
No, there was not a sign.
Had it been for the intervention of the police?
No, there was not. There was only an issue of interpretation when it comes to the rivalry. Some people were insisting that they should do the runoff on that day, whilst other people were saying, no, this could not be done. Let's go back and set a day because.
So what did your constitution say? What is it saying?
Like we are saying, this particular election, like my brother just said, it is not only an election that came from our own making. It is an election mandated by the Supreme Court, and it is mandated to be conducted within a time frame which is not later than the 30th. So being that we had the election on the 23rd and we still have 7 days, and most of the delegates were coming from the provinces and everybody was exhausted. We almost spent 2 days there. We started on Monday and we ended on Tuesday morning. Even most of the reporters became,
so Mr.
tired
Conte,
and they
I'm asking,
went back.
What is this? Your constitution speaking to that situation
Well,
that you had at the St. Antonio Hall?
Yeah, in a situation like that, we just have to prove a winner, because there is no way we can form.
Are you going back to the Supreme Court to
No, we don't need a Supreme Court interpretation to that. We just need to set a date that is convenient and that will not go against the red line.
Is that what your constitution is saying?
That is what the Central Executive Council, that is mandated by the Supreme Court and the Constitution to conduct like that.
It is alleged that you guys want to maintain the status quo. I mean, the alphabet-led executive, and that is the notion, right? But you guys want to maintain the status quo. You don't want to let go power. Even though alphabet would be, will be out of that chair, but it will be like a proxy, a proxy of alphabet, taking over the throne. That is huge. It is an allegation, though.
Yes,
it is huge. How
yes,
to that?
It is. Thank God, it is an allegation, and it is not an alligator. Let me tell you this clearly. And an allegation is an allegation. It has to be proven. But let me tell you, an election that is not free and fair, especially among a people that constitute more than 75% of illiterate or people that cannot read and write, we have seen elections being conducted by other groups of 100% illiterate people, and we saw what happened there. And we knew
elections you mean literate people, right?
Yes, people, 100% literate people.
Which one? Can you
For example, like the Bar Association, they are not only educated, they are people that know the law. We saw what happened. We saw the disagreement there, but we conducted our election professionally. So they should be consulting us for any other conduct of election within, groups.
Yes, conducting an election that did not end up having or producing a leader. Is that a leaf you want the Bar Association to borrow?
No, but all elections in this country or in the world have not only been ending in the very day stipulated. There have been runoff. We have seen runoff in 2007. We have seen runoff in other past elections.
Are you aware that you are talking about national elections for just a drivers' union?
It's not A. It is not A. It is the drivers' union. We are
the drivers' union.
The drivers' union.
So are you comparing it to the
yes, because election? Our election, the delegates are drawn from all districts and regions of this country, just like our national elections are conducted.
How true is it that it is because you still want to have influence over the activities of the Sierra Leone drivers' union?
It is not having. It is not having an influence. Everybody was satisfied.
So do you want to allow me to land?
I will allow you to land safely,
so
but not to crash.
Is it true that you still want to have influence in the activities of the drivers' union? That's why you're doing all what is happening now.
No,
is
but
that true?
From what came out of the reports, we conducted elections we have to conduct election for 25 elective positions. We succeeded in conducting successfully, and results came out for 24 positions. The 25th position, which is the president, collision take place.
Which is the main position,
yes,
and that is why you have all these issues.
No, but
because you still want to maintain
collusion took place. Two people met on the same casted votes. So there is no way two people can become a leader at the same time. You can't even tell the other person to let you be vice, because even the position of vice president is elected. Our elections are far more, explicit than other elections.
No, Mr. Candidate,
every position is
Mr. Candidate.
When we want to bring on bad precedents, because you are just referring to other elections.
No, we want to be exemplified. We want to be exemplified or epitomized as people that have done well. We don't want to be considered.
Are you sure?
Yes.
After overstaying in office?
We have not overstayed because we don't want to. We have overstayed because we want to seek redress through the legal process. We want to ensure that everything that could lead us to problem is solved. Okay. That's why we sought the approval of the interpretation of the Supreme Court, and that's why we didn't have a problem.
Okay, now, Mr. Candidate, the Supreme Court, ruled that you guys should go into an elective Congress, which you did without producing a leader.
No, wait.
Yeah. And you said there is now going to be a runoff, right? Now, the question is, why didn't you conduct the runoff on the same day the elections were held? Because now, when you create a gap, when you create that kind of a vacuum, the problems are always bound to occur. It's just like you keep somebody who is supposed to get certain information, you keep that person incommunicado. What happens? The person thinks for him or herself. And when that happens, whatever he or she does is based on what he or she feels. Because you've failed to provide the adequate information for that person to take informed decisions or to make informed decisions. So now, this gap that you've created, failing to conduct that runoff on the very day those other elections were held, that is what has created all this problem. Don't you think so?
Well, there have not been any problem because we have ensured that on the polling day there should be no problem, and after that, after our election, there is no problem. Nobody is arrested for any misconduct in that election. Nobody is being found wanting by the law for any misconduct in that election, and we came out successful, and everybody has gone back to their respective districts and regions. But what I'm saying here is we could not conduct that election that very day because those that came for the election came on Sunday. They spent their whole day here on Sunday. Monday the election went on. Even the reporter from Slbc could not end the day because they were exhausted. They spent 16 hours.
Now, it is true that the reason you guys don't want to let go is because over the years you'll be milking, from what comes from drivers. I mean, it is just an allegation, yeah. But you guys, you've enjoyed the milk so much that they want to go.
No, one cannot say enjoying the milk will prevent you from going. The best milk and natural milk that was ever made for mankind, which is the breast milk, you have time for it. So no matter how sweet it is, you have determination time for that. So no food is sweeter than breastfeeding, but there was a time that you should stop doing that.
Thank you very much.
So which means does it have determination?
Thank you very much.
No matter how sweet it is, there is a time for that.
We now go over to you, ASP Senu. So let's talk about the new motorbikes that you commissioned, the police commission. Let's talk about it.
Yes, this was also an initiative by the EMBs to also improve on the response mechanism. Far too long people have been complaining. We call police, police will not respond. So the easy way to improve on our response mechanism has to do with using motorbike. The 30 customized motorbikes, these are funds allocated to police officers, to the police for effective operations. So they use that, the fund to ensure that we have effective police response mechanisms put in place. So that was the reason why the 30 customized motorbike were bought for that one. And the allocation has to go like the provinces and the Freetown here. Freetown here, where are we really going to focus at? One motorbike at each traffic light or traffic point for effective monitoring. And one has to do with like highway patrol. to ensure that vehicles that are not supposed to park where we think or we believe they get the tendencies to create an accident or other things, then the person will now call on the tow vehicle to respond. So these are the mechanism put in place.
So how many bikes are we talking about here?
30 motorbikes.
And how are they going to be distributed?
We, according to the IGP yesterday, of course, the provinces, we are also going to consider the provinces. Bo, Kenema, Northwest, Northeast. And
you mean this consignment is only for Freetown, right? This consignment?
This one, the 30 motorbike?
This one?
No, for the entire country.
For the entire country?
For the entire country, yes.
Is that enough?
No, yes. Enough in the sense. For the provinces, it's only the district, I mean the regional headquarter towns. Because it's not compared as, I mean, to the TVS we used to know, where guys used to go.
So what's the update? What's the update on this lady who was caught with that stolen baby? What has happened?
Which one? The one that caught it?
Yes, the lady caught with the stolen baby. What led to the IGP installing CCTV cameras at cottage?
It's under investigation as well.
How about the one from Bangbatu?
Bangbatu is, I mean, it's under investigation. The baby discovered at Bangbatu. That incident happened in Bo. Yes, it's under investigation.
All right, as we continue to stay with us, we go back to the Anti-Corruption Commission. So now that you have taken over, or you are partnering, I don't know the right word, whether you are partnering or you've taken over.
Taken over.
Okay, the investigations. What's the current status?
So this taking over of the investigation happened on Monday, and so it was like 2 days ago. Okay. So, but for now, I can only say that we've sent out notices to persons of interest, and of course these include people at the National Revenue Authority, people at the commercial banks, the clearing and forwarding agencies, and all persons of interest. So we've sent out notices, and in fact some of them have started reporting to the Anti-Corruption Commission to help with the investigation. So again, this is going to, the Commission will really ensure that we do a speedy investigation, but again, we have to also inform the public that this is a very big fraudulent scheme, and but we will ensure that we go deeper into it, and like we used to do in the past, whatever is the outcome of the investigation, we will ensure that we inform the public through our press releases or even coming to the television station like what we are doing now. So definitely we are going to make sure we inform the general public.
But moving forward,
whatever.
Director Ture, what do you intend doing to prevent corruption at the body or the institution mandated by law to generate revenue for this country? Whom source the revenue? Over the years we were reliant on donors, financing our budget. And if we can generate our own revenue, it means we can be able to service government programs and projects on our own. And now people are there siphoning funds that are meant for government programs and projects into their own private use. And this is not the first time it has been happening. So prevention is key, and it is part of your mandate. How do you intend actually tightening that body to ensure that some of these things reduced, if not eradicated entirely?
Thank you very much. Prevention, I would say, even for the current strategy that we have, is really prominent in that strategy, the current national anti-corruption strategy that we have. And so what we think we are going to do is to ensure that we unravel all the prevention gadgets that we have within that particular strategy, to ensure that we reach out to some of these institutions. And like you said, the NRA is the primary source of basket fund for this country, and that is where the government really gets its money from, to of course pay teachers, pay health workers, and of course take care of other social amenities. So we cannot just sit by and allow things allow things to go badly at that institution.
All right,
so
quickly,
again, we will ensure that we engage them, and after engaging them, we will continue to be their systems. But again, if that fails, we will continue to do the enforcement aspects of the fight against corruption.
What's the current status of the FCC investigations and that of the SLFA?
The FCC investigation, it has almost concluded, and I told you a huge part of the recovery that we are supposed to make from them, a huge part of that money has already been paid to the ACC. There is a payment plan for all those involved in that matter, and they are continuing with the payments. For the SLFA, you say, I know you're always interested in the SLFA matter. So anyway, but for now, I would say the investigation is really at an advanced stage.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toure, Abaka Toure, the director of external outreach and public affairs at the Anti-Corruption Commission. And quickly, let's go through the papers this morning, and I'll start with the Awoko newspaper, which says central bank slashes policy rate as inflation falls and deficit narrows. Also here in the Awoko newspaper, tripartite secretariat boosts interagency coordination, advances key national consultations. These are some of the stories you can see in the Awoko newspaper.
From the Awoko, we go to the Premier News. It opens with a banner headline: Government vows to safeguard press freedom, digital rights, and this goes with a picture of the Minister of Information and Civic Education. 5 remanded over alleged plots to kill government official. And finally, National Carbon Association to boost climate action and investment. More stories you find in the Premier News.
Yes, seriously, because of time, probably we'll just take one headline in each of the remaining newspapers. This one says, as global collaboration with West Africa strengthens, European Union meets ECOWAS chairman Liu.
All right, from the awareness we go to the exclusive. Let's unite APC and Sierra Leone. This goes with the photo of Dr. Ibrahim Bangura. And final on the front page of the storm of the exclusive newspaper. After the storm, why the NIA's response still commands public confidence. The stories plus more you find in the
now finally for the papers here in front of me, I have the Standard Times, and it says electoral manipulation in Bo, Prince Harding implicated. Well, that is the story I can pitch for now.
All right, so the final paper for today is the satellite newspaper. The satellite newspaper, eminent reshuffle in government as President Bio to sack all cabinet members that contested in SLPP primaries. Well, we must inform you that views from these newspapers do not in any way reflect the views of the SLBC. We are merely reviewing what the papers are saying. This is Good Morning saying, Mr. Kinda Nekonte, when is your elections? When are you going to do the rerun?
Well, we are going to have a meeting. We have called the 2 candidates to a meeting today. From here, we are going to convene at our head office, and we are either going to do it on Saturday the 28th or Sunday the 29th.
Okay, all right, thank you so much, and that is how we say goodbye. Thank you so much, Mr. Kanele from the Motor Drivers Union, and that is how we say goodbye. Well, naturally, the goodbye as well.
A place cannot produce poems. It can only not